Good morning. Thank you for checking out today's session of Family Story Times on Race and Diversity. I'm Sira Williams. I'm the Children's Librarian at the Red Bank Public Library. Today, I want to welcome you to my home. We're going to be talking about the cultural celebration of Kwanzaa. But before I do that, I want to remind you of what this program is all about. We started this program over 6 months ago to help young families like you have important conversations that are comfortable for you and your family in your home about issues of race and diversity and social justice and really just people and cultures that are different than yourselves. So my hope is that by the stories that I read and all of these sessions and the talking points that I give you, that you can take it and run with it yourselves in a way that's comfortable for you. And I really want to do that because I think it's so important that we learn about different types of people, understand their perspectives and their history, so that we can live together peacefully in community. That's our whole goal, right? And one of the great ways to learn about other cultures is to get to know their holiday traditions. And now is a season of celebration. It's a season of love and light and peace. And Hanukkah has already started. Christmas is coming, and the winter solstice is coming, and Kwanzaa is coming. So let's talk about that. I want you to know that Kwanzaa is a cultural holiday. It's not a religious holiday. And so my family celebrates both Christmas and Kwanzaa. And it takes place in the week between Christmas and New Year's. So it starts on the 26th of December and it ends on New Year's Day. And if it's 1 week long, how many days does it last? 7 days. So there's 7 days of Kwanzaa, and we're going to talk about what we do on each one of those days and all of these symbols on my Kwanzaa display in just a minute. I want to tell you about how it got started. It was invented by this man. His name is Dr. Maulana Karenga. He was a professor of African American Studies, and he thought of this holiday back in 1966, which sounds like a long time ago to you, but really compared to the traditions of Hanukkah and Christmas, it wasn't that long ago. And 1966 was a time that was very tumultuous and difficult in Black history and American history. It's right in the middle of the Civil Rights Movement. And so you can talk about that, but he wanted this holiday to inspire Black people to remember their history and their ancestors and all of the struggles that they went through, but also their strength and their resiliency and their determination to get us to where we are today. And he wanted to inspire Black people to support each other in the present, in the struggles that we continue to go through. And he wanted to inspire us to think about the future and to prepare for the future and to make a better future for our children. And so that's really what Kwanzaa is all about. And he was inspired by African cultures and traditions and customs. And so a lot of the things on my Kwanzaa table will have African Swahili words for them, and I'm going to teach those to you. And when I talk about Kwanzaa to classes and groups, I like to wear my African clothes because they remind me of my own personal history, because my family, part of my family is from Africa. But also it reminds you that this holiday is centered on African cultures and customs. So let me tell you some of these things on my table. Not some of them. I'm going to tell you about all of them. On the bottom of my display here is a mat, and I have one here to show you. And the mat, the Swahili word for it is mkeka. Can you say that? Mkeka. And it represents our community. And this is the foundation of our display. It's the foundation of all that we think about in terms of Kwanzaa, our community, because it is so important. And it reminds us of community because all the fibers of the mat are interconnected, right? They're working together, and that's what makes them stronger. And that's like people. On our own, we're special and we're great. You're great. I know you are. And I know that I can do great things all by myself. But when we work together, when we come together in community, we're so much stronger, and we can do so many, many more things when we work together, right? And when we work together, we form bonds with each other, we make new friendships, and that enhances our life. So community is the foundation of our display. My mat is the colors of Kwanzaa, red, green, and black, and we'll talk about those because those are the colors of my candles in my kinara. The candle holder is called the kinara. Try to say that word, kinara. And it holds our 7 candles for Kwanzaa, and they are red, green, and black. And I'm going to tell you what those colors mean. The black candle represents Black people. That's easy enough. The red candles represent our history, just what we were talking about, and the struggles of the past. And the green candles represent our future, because green is the color of plants and trees and new life that grow and grow and grow. And so green represents the hope of the future. So those are the colors of Kwanzaa. And each night of Kwanzaa, we light a candle and we talk about the principle of the day. There are 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Those are like themes or values that we talk about as we light our candle, and we dedicate ourselves to try to live those values every day. And as we do that, we take a sip from this. This is called the Unity Cup, and the Swahili words for that are Kikombe cha umoja. It's 3 words, Kikombe cha umoja, and the Unity Cup is at the center of our display. And everybody always wants to know, what's in the cup? What do you put in the cup? We just put water in the cup, but it's symbolic. Okay, we'll talk about that more when we talk about the principles of Kwanzaa. Also on my mat are these ears of corn. Did you notice them sitting here? The word for the corn is muhindi. Muhindi. And the corn represents our children. So the number of children that you have in your family is the number of ears of corn that you put in your display. So I have 3 amazing daughters, Kayla, Julia, and Maya. Hello, girls. And that's why I have 3 ears of corn. And you might think it's weird that corn represents children, but I'm going to tell you why. Because you know this already, I think, that each kernel of corn can be a seed. That's how you plant new corn, is you plant a kernel of corn and you get a new stalk of corn. And on that stalk is going to be more corn. And you're going to plant those seeds and get more corn. And that's kind of like children. So I have 3 children, and they're going to have children, and their kids are going to have kids, and so on and so on. And before you know it, I'm going to be somebody's great, 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 great grandma. That is why corn represents children. And the last thing on our mat is the fruit or vegetables. And the Swahili word for that is mazao. Mazao. And this represents the bounty of the harvest. It's kind of like Thanksgiving. It represents all the things that we're thankful for. And so Thanksgiving was just a couple weeks ago. So your thankful list should be fresh in your mind. And all of those things, our family, our friends, our home, our health, all the things that we're thankful for are represented here. And we always want to remember those, right? Okay, so that's our Kwanzaa display. I'm going to read to you a book. This is family story time. So I'm going to read you a story now. It's called Santa's Kwanzaa. It's by Garen Eileen Thomas. It's illustrated by Guy Francis. And as I read this book, I want you to look for all of the things that we just talked about in our Kwanzaa display, because this is a Christmas/Kwanzaa book. I'm gonna scoot because I like to hold my books in my left hand, so I want to make sure you can see the pictures. Oops, let me get to the first page. Come on, come on. Here we go. Nope. All right, Sira. It says, "'Twas the night before Christmas, the very last hour. He was all out of breath and he needed a shower. Wrapped gifts were now stacked where Yule wishes had lain, and was time to return to the North Pole again. Poor Santa lamented his pot-bellied girth. That means he felt bad that his belly was so big, but he loved every cookie for what it was worth. And he thought of his house and what awaited him there, and how he'd trade in his boots for a comfortable pair. So he loaded his sleigh up with empty cloth sacks, and next he gave his stout reindeer a pat on their backs, and then up, 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 and away they all flew through the day and the night. And little Rudolph did too. There he is. And off in the distance shone a sight for sore eyes, his sweet humble home disguising a surprise. Santa sauntered so softly through the open front door, and he pulled off his suit, which he left on the floor. When who should appear but the light of his life, the behind-the-scenes maven, his loving boss wife, who held out his kente to resounding applause and shouted out with the elves, "Welcome home, Santa Claus." See how he's called Santa Claus in this book? Because it's a Kwanzaa book. I like that. It was time to rejoice in the Santa Claus way, to celebrate Kwanzaa on this 26th day of December. And then in a marvelous twist, the elves approached Santa with their very own list. "We've gifts for you, Santa," they said with great glee, which they fetched from their spots around the great Christmas tree. Oh, they're going to say the names of the elves right here, and the names of the elves are the words for the principles of Kwanzaa. So listen to these names. It says first Nia, Kuumba, and Kujichagulia. Then Imani, Umoja, Ujama, and Ujima placed each grand Kwanzaa item upon Santa's lap, which brought tears to his eyes, that jolly old sap. And each night through the 7th, the family showed their deep pride in their roots as their cups overflowed. Are you starting to see some of the symbols of Kwanzaa in these illustrations? Till the last eve was ending, and Santa decreed he had more Kwanzaa spirit, and that he would need his deer to go on one more of their night flights. But they'd have to go higher to reach greater heights. Let's take a look at their display. You see their kinara and their candles. Here's the kikombe cha umoja, the unity cup. I see the corn and the fruit, and it's all on the mat. So the elves and the misses packed themselves in the sleigh, and when Santa was seated, they set out on their way. To the top of the trees and to the galaxy's end, as he thought of a message he wanted to send. Then using his magic, which he gets from above, Santa lit up the heavens in colors of love. 'Twas the most glorious vision in the whole universe. It says, "Happy Kwanzaa, peaceful men, and goodwill towards earth." That was Santa's hope and his blessing for the people of earth. Isn't that beautiful? And then it says you can celebrate Kwanzaa just like the Quazes. And we're going to go through each one of these elves and their names and what they represent, because those are the principles of Kwanzaa that we talk about each night when we light our candles. I'm going to light my candles in a minute. So the first elf is Umoja, and Umoja's pride unites the family. Umoja means unity. Remember, this is our unity cup, Kikombe Cha Umoja. And so unity is working together. We already talked about that. The second principle is Kujichagulia. And that's a tricky word. Can you say that one? Kujichagulia. It means self-determination. And this says Kujichagulia is determined always to speak her mind. But self-determination, when I think about that, that means to me that we have the power to be who we want to be. Not just what our job is, but the kind of person that we want to be. So as you grow up and you begin to make more and more decisions for yourself, you get to decide and you get to be the person that you want to be. And that is empowering. All right, the next principle is Ujima. This says Ujima is responsible for solving problems. And Ujima means collective work and responsibility. Again, talking about working together and being responsible. Ujama cooperates and trades fairly. So in Kwanzaa, Ujama means cooperative economics. And that just means that we want to support Black-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses, because that strengthens our culture, our community. The next principle is Nia. It's cute. It says Nia's purpose is to keep the community great. And Nia means purpose. So we all have a purpose, and we should honor that, and we should do things with purpose. Kuumba. Kuumba. Say Kuumba. Kuumba means creativity. This is my favorite one. Kuumba is the most creative of all. So I know that you're creative in so many ways, through singing and dancing and drawing and playing and creating, coding, building Legos, whatever it is you're doing, you're using your imagination, you're being creative. Keep it up. The last principle of Kwanzaa is Imani. Imani means faith. Imani's faith and vision keep all our dreams alive. And so faith is so important. If you're a spiritual person, then you may have faith in God to love you and protect you and guide you and keep you. But you can also just have faith in yourself. You need to have faith in yourself and believe in yourself that you can do anything and be anything. And you should also have faith in your family and your community to support you in all that you do. And so faith is our last principle of Kwanzaa. Hey, I want to light my candles now. So each night of Kwanzaa, this is what we do. We light our candle, and the first one that we light is the black one. So the black one represents Black people. Remember, we talk about our principle for the day. On the first night, the principle is unity, or umoja. And we talk about how important it is to be united as a family and as a community, and how we want to do that. We take a sip from our cup and we pass it around. And that's it. It's not a big to-do. But then the next night, we light another candle, and this time we go to the candles that represent our history. Remember, those are the red candles. And we want to honor our ancestors. And we talk about our next principle of the day, which would be Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia is self-determination. We talk about that principle, how important it is for us to be the kind of person that we know we can be. And we pass around our cup. And then we just go back and forth. On the third night, we light a green candle. And then The next night, another red candle, then another green candle, as we continue to talk about the important values and principles of Kwanzaa. Oops, I missed that one. And then by the last night, all of our candles are lit. And doesn't it look pretty? Come on, you little candles. There we go. And on the last night, we have a celebration. And it's called the Karamu. Karamu means feast. And we can invite family over. We've done that in the past, or we can just have our own little party and celebrate. Celebrate. And we give gifts sometimes. And the gifts that you give on Kwanzaa are not like toys that you might get on Christmas or Hanukkah. They're gifts that would honor our history. So they might be books or a biography of somebody that was important, or maybe a craft project that you would like to do to express your creativity. And so those are the kinds of things that you would get for Kwanzaa. And those gifts are called zawadi. Zawadi. And that's our Kwanzaa celebration in a nutshell. If you have, if you're curious to learn more about it, definitely look it up because there's lots of information. I want to finish by singing you a song because you know Miss Sira loves to sing. And so I kind of adapted a song that I know, that I think a lot of people know, called This Little Light of Mine. And I added some verses that remind me of the principles of Kwanzaa. So I'll sing it quickly. And I like this song because, of course, Kwanzaa has beautiful light in it. And we've talked about the light that we have inside of us when we talk about being strong in our mind and our body and our spirit, and how we need to shine our own light. And so this song reminds me of that. And I'll remind you of how it goes. It goes, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Then you could do a verse like this. Everywhere my community, I'm gonna let it shine. You could do a verse that goes, support my brothers and sisters too. I'm gonna let it shine. You could do, find my purpose and keep my faith. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So I would sing the whole thing, but I just give you a snippet because you don't want to hear me sing. But I do want you to have a wonderful holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate. Remember that everybody is celebrating maybe different things, and doesn't that make the world a more interesting place? And if we can learn a little bit more about it, then we can relate to each other in new and different ways. So enjoy your holidays, enjoy your time with your families, take care of yourselves. I always want to leave you with, today I'm going to leave you with some Kwanzaa, red, green, and black, peace and love, and tell you to stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming today. Bye, everybody.